Hey, welcome to the story of Dime. My name is Dhruv, and I'm going to walk you through the evolution of our company and the business model. But before we get started, let's dive into the problem to give you some context about what I'm going to be talking about later on. The problem we're solving is that there's no consolidated source of relevant university information, and there's no way to meet up people to strike up a great conversation. So what makes this problem significant? Well, there are problems that customers think are necessary to fix in the moment. So those are the problems that when you create a solution, customers are really excited for temporarily. But then there are problems that customers can't live without being fixed because they're so incredibly important. So we believe that a significant problem is to solve the latter because those are the problems we're spending our entire lives on. So why is this problem specifically significant? Well, it's been tried many times in the past. Companies like Chillabit and Yik Yak have come and gone for who knows how long, like since the beginning of the internet. And so since so many people have tried this, it comes to validate that the problem is an actual problem, and we've tested this again with our hypothesis as well. But even Facebook and Instagram and some of these larger companies have also created platforms where you can create consolidated sources of information. But again, they have their own problems. A large market segment really cares about this problem as well. There's 1.4 million Canadian university students, which just goes to tell you how many people this sort of solution would really affect. And lastly, tech is far too advanced to actually not solve this problem. Like we have artificial intelligence technologies and blockchain, but we can't solve this very simple problem, which is to scale to every university a solution that brings in a consolidated source of university information. So when we originally started off with this idea, we had two hypotheses. The first was that there was no consolidated source of relevant university information available to you, and opportunities were missed that didn't come again for another year. And this is a hypothesis because it was an assumption based on our own experiences. And same with the second hypothesis, where we didn't have a place to find interesting, well, to us people, is even if we went to clubs or societies, we'd have to go have a conversation with every single person to find someone quote unquote interesting to us, because there would always be some discrepancies in interests between us. So there wouldn't actually be very many, like, I guess, notable conversations we would be having. And so we tested the first hypothesis because it was more vital and core to the solution, but also because it was just simple and it was an obvious test for us to do. So we did this by creating a newsletter for friends that were interested in tech at Waterloo. And we went through many different sources. So we went through and we put together sources of Facebook, Instagram, and other pages. And we sent it out to all these members of the newsletter. And so we got a lot of feedback. But again, like, these sources were not a consolidated source of information. So the people that were getting a newsletter were getting a consolidated source, but we were not, because we didn't have a consolidated source. The second hypothesis of finding interesting people was tested by adding a new feature, quote unquote, to the newsletter, where we took a spotlight of the person and added sort of their interests and sort of like a bio about them. And people were really enthused by this, right? Because they were able to see what the person on the spotlight were interested in, and they could strike up a conversation with them over. We'd add their contact information over those channels. And so we got lots of feedback and lessons from both of them. So we had 6 main ones. I'm going to talk about a couple of them. The first was that there's a lot of segments within technology itself. So even though there's an event about tech, quote unquote, it's a design event, doesn't mean that everyone interested in tech is interested in design. And so we didn't really take this into account when we were sending out a tech newsletter. There was the other really interesting piece of feedback we had was that the newsletter wasn't shareable, right? Because you had the entire newsletter or you had no newsletter, right? So if I wanted to invite a friend to an event, I'd have to send them the entire newsletter. And lastly, since there was only one person every week in the spotlight, if the interest didn't match, you had to wait until next week. And so these were some key insights and feedback from our newsletter. So after that, we took in that feedback and created our MVP, which was an app that consisted of a main page with people around you and their basic information, and then we had 2 other pages that were split into social and professional events. And so these were just streams of ongoing events and things that were going on. And so this led to our first business model canvas, which was, the event organizers were our main partners, and we reached them through email and Facebook to actually fulfill our value proposition of a consolidated source of event information, because we didn't start off directly with a consolidated source of all university information. And the event organizers really cared about this because they were able to target the university audience. The revenue structure in this was that it was free for our users, and there would be ad revenue for the event organizers, but we didn't charge them in the beginning. So we learned lessons from this, but the main lesson we learned was that we were missing out on a lot of other relevant university information, and hence a lot of our audience, because we were limiting ourselves down to events only. And so we changed social and professional events to social and professional feeds, which led to our second business model, Canvas, and it opened up a whole new array of partners. So we had influencers and page owners that we were contacting through email and Facebook again, and our revenue stayed the same, and our value prop changed from source of event information to just a source of information. And again, we learned some lessons from that. And again, the main feedback we got was very similar to the design thing, because it was that if everyone's interested in tech, doesn't mean everyone interested in tech is interested in design. And it's the same case here, where everyone interested in university isn't interested in every part of the university experience. And so we split down our professional stream into different subreddits. And so those were sort of like streams of internship discussions and class discussions and so on, which led to our third business model. And this had the same key partners, but we changed our channel, because now the channel was that we gave them a verified account and a verified streams. If you were, let's just say, an influencer, you got your own verified account, even though the posts were anonymous on the actual app for everyone else. You had a verified account, and so people knew you were a credible person. And again, the revenue structure and the revenue streams were the same. And so we learned that this model is working for the most part, because that is our current model. And the key now is to monetize heavily and get influencers and get other partners to increase the revenue streams we have, which is our future business model canvas, which is right here. And the main change here is that we want to add merchants into the scene, because the university experience is not only limited down to just influencers and pages, but we also have merchants and a lot of merchants on the campus. So that would increase another revenue stream, and they would have their own merchant accounts, and we can add that to the app as well. So that's Dime. We currently have over 3,000 active installs and over 800 to 900 daily active users. And so you can go check out the website at getdime.ca. You can find me at storyofdrew.com, which is my personal website, or you can find me at dp4patel@uwaterloo.ca. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. Bye.